guys, here we're going to go over the pro agility. So again, the 40 is going to be something that tests your overall speed. The pro agility is going to be something that's going to test your lateral quickness. The reason we end up doing this is just so we're able to kind of differentiate between the two. You should obviously try to get at least 0.2 seconds below your 40-yard dash time with your pro agility time. It doesn't really test the true aspect of pro agility because you actually know when you're going to be cutting in a football game. You're going to have that chaos element in which you're not going to know where that opponent's going to cut and when you're going to have to break. So this drill can really be manipulated and actually just brought down to a T. So I'm going to go through these key points with you. Alright, the first aspect of the pro agility is going to be the starting stance. The rules of the pro agility are that if we're going to our right hand has to be down on that center line, and we're going to our left hand has to be down on that center line. In most combines, you're going to have one opportunity to go to your right, one opportunity to go to your left. So in this aspect, I'll go over to going to my right first. What you want to do is you want to have your feet staggered. So when I say that, the rules of the combine is we have to have our feet directly over the center line of that starting position. However, what we are allowed to get away with is to slightly stagger our feet. So if I'm going to my right, I'm going to have my left foot slightly in front of my right. That's going to give myself a clearing lane to cross as I come over. What I can also do is actually load up my hips in the way in which I'm going. So if I'm going to my right, I'm going to come down, my right hand has to be down, and I can actually load up my hips over top of my right leg, and that way I'm just ready to go with my head relaxed, so I end up staying in the back in a down and low position. So that's going to be the starting, going to my right, going to my left. It's just going to be the opposite. My right leg is going to be in front of my left, and again my left hand is going to be down, loading up my hips, ready to explode out, and then go to my left. Alright, now we're going to go over the first turn of the pro agility. You have to break the pro agility down into steps. The pro agility should not take longer than 12 steps to accomplish. And in order to do so, we have to get to the first cone within 4 steps. So if I'm going to my right and I get into that proper angle, again that proper starting position, would have my right foot back, my left foot out in front, and I have my lean, it's going to take me 4 steps to get to that first cone. And ideally we want to be able to keep our hips square and not turn our hips as we come across. That's going to allow me to only have to turn 90 degrees to come back as opposed to having to do a complete 180 turn to the way back. So if I can keep my hips square, it'll make that transition faster. The only time in which we're actually going to lose time on this drill is going to be at these transition points. A lot of people try to get too anxious getting there in a hurry, and all that does is make your hips come outside your body, and then we end up having too much ground contact time at that transition point. So we want to make those turns as quick as possible. We could actually probably run at 3/4 speed in the middle aspect, but as long as our turns are fast, we're going to have a good pro agility time. So the first aspect here too, what I want you to just think about for that first turn, I want to think 1-2 steps get there, and then that 3-4 transition. So we're going to be down, loading up that right leg. So it's going to be that 1-2 steps get there, then it's going to be that 3-4 transition as we come down. And you'll notice when I'm at this position, what I did in terms of getting into that transition, on that 3rd and 4th step, once I come in, the biggest aspect of what I have to do now is I actually want to think about actually throwing my body and my momentum around, thinking about creating that perpetual motion as I come back and around, and actually slamming my hand down in front of me, trying to get my hips up, and then actually just catching myself with the momentum in that force that I've created in that swing as I come back and around, making sure that I end up having all that weight coming down into that front hand. And the big thing is I've created that positive shin angle that I'm coming back the other way. If we end up coming down and that shin straight up and down, that energy is going to stab me straight up. So I have to get that shin angle coming back, and ideally as I spin around, that right leg has to come and get on the right side of my front leg. That's going to allow me to have that good transition, and again that clear path for that leg to drive through as I come back. So I'm going to be down, back, and again the rule of the drill there is I have to end up touching with my right hand to that line on that transition. Alright guys, now I'm going to go over the second part of that transition. So this one can be done in either 8 or 6 steps. I personally take 8 and just really concentrating on getting that fast transition when I come back. And the same thing when we came into this transition, we got to have that positive shin angle and get that leg swing as we come back and around. So once I'm down in this position, I've already come around, I've had my hand down, I'm locked in. Now I'm going to take 8 steps to come back and make sure I come back with that transition the other way. Because the rules of this drill is, if I open up to my right, I have to touch with my right hand. When I open up the other way, I have to touch with my left hand. So now that I'm down in this position, I'm going to open up 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. And it's going to be the exact same transition that we just did at the other one, where I'm coming in and really concentrating on dropping my hips back, loading up, and just using my arms and my momentum to swing myself around so I can actually transfer some of that energy I created into this turn, and then fold it back, and again, accelerate me back through that finish line where that clock's going to stop. So as I come in here, I'm going to load my hips, come back down and around, really get all that weight down that front end. So I've created that positive shin angle coming back, having that backhand touch the line because that's the rules of the drill, and then having that head down so I can explode out and I'm not going to pop up as I come out. And then I'm just going to drive out. And then from there, that's going to be complete the drill.